Hi, my name is Mike Kurth. In our last lecture, I talked about scarcity and competition. That when goods are scarce, there's not enough for everybody to get all of what they want, and so we must compete to see who's going to get it and who's going to be left out. And in that process of competition, we incur cost, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about cost and choice. In economics, we have a saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And what that means is that for any scarce resource, something must be given up in order to obtain it. Even if you say that it's free, if it's scarce, there has to be some sacrifice made by somebody somewhere down the line in order to produce that. Now, the economic concept of cost is what we call opportunity cost. And this is very different from the way that people generally think about costs. You think about cost in terms of the price tag that's hanging off the dress or the suit in the store. And opportunity cost says it's not just the money that you pay for something. It's all the things that you must give up or sacrifice or forego in order to obtain a particular good or a particular resource. Let me give you an example. When I first started teaching, I was teaching at a small college in Virginia, a small church college. And I went in to talk to the president of the college. I was wanting to get my first job. And he said, here at this university, we have a free lunch program. I said, what, free lunch program? I said, there's no such thing as free lunch. And he looked at me like he'd never heard that before. And he said, no, we have a free lunch program. I said, well, what if I don't want my free lunch? He said, well, then you'll get $50 a month in your paycheck, $50 a month extra. And I said, well, so if I eat the free lunch, if I take the free lunch, I have to give up the $50. And he said, no. He said, no, the lunch is free, but if you don't get it, then we give you $50. I said, well, I said, wait, I'm giving something up if I want to get the free lunch. I went around the bush with him a couple of times and said, hey, I want this job, so I'm just going to let this lie. But if I have to give up $50, whether I'm paying money or it's coming out of my paycheck, I'm making a sacrifice. I'm giving something up in order to get that lunch. Now, to give you another example, let's say movie theaters, going to the movies. One of the objectives of economics is to make predictions about the choices that people make and their behavior. And if we want to predict attendance at the movies, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the price of the ticket is $7.50 each one of those days. So that doesn't get us anywhere. The price is the same every day, so why is attendance different? Well, because the price is not the only cost in going to the movies. During the week, people's time is more valuable in the evening. They've got to get up the next day for work. They've got kids at home, whatever. Your time is less valuable on the weekends. So very few people are willing to go to the movies on Tuesday or Wednesday night because of what they have to give up. Not the $7.50, but all the other things that they have to give up to go. On the weekends, it's much less costly for most people to go, even though the price of the ticket is the same, $7.50. Similarly, if you're a football fan, you're not likely to be at the movie theaters on Super Bowl Sunday. Why? Because to go, you'd have to give up watching the biggest football game of the year. And football fans generally won't make that sacrifice. It's too costly to them. As a college student, you're attending college. Say, what's the cost of going to college? Most people would respond, oh, $5,000 a year, that's the tuition. That's the cost of going to college. Is it really? You know, if you're a full-time student and you can't work and you're sacrificing an income, maybe $40,000 a year, $40,000 a year, that's a lot more than your tuition. If you're married and you're working and you're going to school in the evening, you're giving up your evening time with your family, how valuable is that? That's a huge cost. Most students, when they drop out of college, or even when they decide not to go to college, it's because of not because of the tuition, it's because of the other things they'd have to sacrifice. So we look at the subjective cost. We look at what you have to give up, and opportunity cost is the highest valued alternative you must give up in order to do something. And both your costs and your benefits are going to be very subjective. Subjective means that it's individual, it's personal. If it's objective, it's the same for everybody. Things like inches and pounds are objective. 6 feet is 6 feet for everybody. 100 pounds is 100 pounds for everybody. But when we talk about things like beauty, not everybody sees beauty the same way. You know, somebody, a woman who might be judged a 10 by some guys might be judged a 6 by others. Taste, food. Some people love Chinese food, some people hate it. Some people love Cajun food, some people hate it. I mean, it's different for everybody. And so opportunity cost is individual based, and as are the benefits. Economists use something called a production possibility curve to illustrate the concept of opportunity cost. For example, let's label this the PPC, that's your production possibility curve. And it's going to look something like this, where you have two activities. One's on the vertical, one's on the horizontal. And let's take, for example, grades. Grades and fun. Okay, you're studying, you're in school. It could be, maybe it's fun, or maybe it's family. But these are two opportunities. Now, to get better grades, you have to give up having some fun. So let's say that you decide to give up all of your fun, have zero fun, and do nothing but study and get good grades. And let's say the best grade you can get is a B. Studying as hard as you can, trying to learn your economics, the best you can do is to get a B. So you have a choice between having a whole lot of fun. You could do nothing but have fun, but if you do that, you're going to get an F. Or you give up a little bit of your fun and do some studying and get a D. Or you could give up some more of your fun and raise your grade to a C. Or you could give up all your fun and get a B. So what this shows is the trade-off between two activities, between getting good grades and having fun or spending time with your family. Now, usually when we draw a production possibility curve, we draw it bowed outward, like it look more like this. And so let's still keep this as grades. It's taking me a long time to write because I have to write upside down for my camera here. If I get a letter backwards, you'll know why. But this is your B, C, D, and F. And when the curve is a straight line, what it indicates is that there's a constant trade-off. That each time you give up amount of fun, you get the same result with your study. There's a constant trade-off between fun and grades. This indicates that there's an increasing cost. So, for example, let's say you're getting C's, but if you're getting B's, you're having no fun at all. But you can get C's and have quite a bit of fun. Now, if you give up some additional studying to get a C, you get a big increase in your fun. If your grades drop down to a D, you get a small incremental increase in your fun. If your grades drop down to an F, you get a little bit more fun, but you lose a lot of your grades. And this works in reverse. If you're getting Fs, giving up just a little bit of fun will get you a D. If you want to get a C, you've got to give up a little bit more fun, and you get your grades up to a C. But if you want to get up to that B, you've got to give up a whole lot of fun to get up to that B. So most people don't choose either all studying and no fun, or all fun and family and no studying. They'll choose a combination between, and the more they study, the less effective their studying is. I mean, after you've read through your notes, your chapter, your material once, you get a lot of benefit from that. Reading it a second time may be a good idea because you're going back and reviewing and locking stuff into your memory, refreshing your memory. The third time, not much benefit doing it the third time. Fourth time, fifth time, the benefits decline very rapidly. So, and the cost, when you first start studying, the fun time that you give up is your least valuable time. What were you doing? Playing video games or watching court TV? But as you give up more and more, you're giving up more and more valuable time. So your opportunity cost of studying increases the more you study. And your opportunity cost in terms of your grades increases the more that you have fun or don't study. Now let me give you another example. And because this is often used not just for individuals, we sometimes use it when we're talking about countries. And in this case, let's use guns and butter. Oh boy. Guns and butter. Okay, and I use this comes from, oops, I got it backwards, S there. I use this example, it comes from a speech that Winston Churchill gave during World War II, where he told the British people, we can prevail, we can beat the Nazis, we can beat Germany, but we can't have both guns and butter. And what he meant by that was, if we want to build up our military, if we want to fight back, if we want to win, we can't have the luxury goods. That's what butter represented, was luxury goods, consumer goods, nylon stockings, butter, automobiles. In the United States, we didn't produce any automobiles for 4 years. All the auto factories, where I grew up in Michigan, all the auto factories were converted to making machine guns and anti-aircraft guns and tanks. They weren't rolling out automobiles. So countries have a choice between a lot of military spending and no consumer goods. For example, North Korea. North Korea is somewhere up here. Okay, they're building atomic bombs and missiles. They got I think the third or fourth largest army in the world. And their people have nothing. They're starving. They're eating rocks. Okay. Or you can find other countries that are over here, someplace like Jamaica. I love Jamaica. A wonderful island. A lot of fun there. But they don't have a military. At least it's very small. So all of their resources go into tourism and fun, and nothing goes into the military. In the United States, we devote a pretty good amount of our resources to military, and we can't have as many consumer goods if we're going to do that. If a war comes along like World War II, then we have to devote more resources to the military. But the more we devote to the military, the more we have to sacrifice. The cost rises. So what this illustrates is that to do one thing, we have to give up something else. And quite likely as we do that, the cost is going to rise.